Welcome back to Chipped or Dipped. This is Jared Bryan. I just wanted to get you guys a message with something that's been on my heart today. I got some time. It's a rainstorm right here. It's freezing cold rain, so I figured I'd go ahead and get in my vehicle while I was waiting on a mechanic. And I get to share a message with y'all. I've been reading, and this morning I was pretty much led to talk about the vineyard that God left for Israel, for His people. So Israel was His chosen people. Yes, that's true. But when I talk to Christians today about the war and about what's going on, or I talk to people who are not Christian, there is a very big cancel culture in social media and anyone going against Israel or the Jewish people. Now, if I said I was for Hitler or for genocide, I would be condemned. Now, what is going on in Israel right now is genocide, and they're shooting at hospitals. They're trying to kill many, many Palestinian people instead of just the terrorists that attacked on Israel, the terrorist attack that happened, which was kind of sketchy to say the least, with the tanks being there and with them having a huge party celebration at the border. Why did they have the event there? You know, there's questions to be asked about all that. I'm not saying that it wasn't a legitimate attack. It just, Israel, with it being such a secure border, it's kind of sketchy. When Netanyahu, he's a crazy man, basically the new Hitler, he was about to be, his own people were turning against him, and he was about to be removed. So there's a lot of questions involved that. I'm not going down that road. I'm going to stick to scriptural, and I'm going to show you all, when I talk to Christians, they talk about, oh, bless Israel, so you'll be blessed. And, I think that's in Genesis 12. But you have to look at, there's things with the old covenant and there's things with the new covenant. There's Israel was wiped away with, and they restructured. Now Israel is a new country. So the Israel people, when you look at, you have to define what Israel is. Israel, the Jewish people, they said, let the blood of, when Jesus was hanging on the cross, they said, let it be, the blood be on our own hands and on our children. So you have to look at, their idea of always blessing Israel, or whatever you do. These Christians today, they believe, oh, you just need to bless Israel, No, really, Israel is a people. Israel is a people. It's spiritual, and we're supposed to be, as Christians, we're supposed to be Israel's. Paul was saying there's no difference, no Jew, Gentile, we're all the same. And Israel is supposed to be a people who follow after Christ. So the actual best way I can represent this and let you all know that, the blessings that were on Israel as a nation, all that was taken away. And you have to realize that you go to the parable of the vineyard, and we can go back to Mark, but I'm going to start in Isaiah. I'm reading out of the King James Study Bible, and I want to read some study for you, because this is Old Testament first, and then we'll go to the New Testament in Mark, okay? Now this talks about the parable of Jehovah's vineyard, and this is Isaiah chapter 5, verse 1 through, we'll go 1 through 7, okay? It says, "Now I will sing to my well beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard, and a very fruitful hill. And he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Wow. So my well-beloved God, okay? Now, the wild grapes, Israel, they, instead of grapes being produced, they were produced wild grapes. Think of Tel Aviv, the gay capital, of the world. So look, so it says, 5 verse 3 now. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. And what could have been done more to my vineyard, that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. There it is again, wild grapes. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. Wow. So if the wild grapes are going to be trodden down, the vineyard that was given to the people are going to be taken away and trodden down. And I will lay it waste, and it shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. It says it right there. It's telling you the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. I don't know how more blunt it can be. Okay? Christians, did you hear me? This is not me telling you this. This is the word. And the men of Judah, his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, for righteousness, but behold, a cry. Man. I'm going to go down to this is a study Bible, so it breaks down what it was talking about. So, the vineyards were important commodities in ancient Judah. When someone went to the trouble of planting a vineyard, he expected to eventually reap fruit from his labor. So the song of the vineyard is a prophetic parable, and there is no doubt as to its meaning. There's no doubt as its meaning. Let's read this part. The vineyard of the Lord represents the house of Israel. Okay? God has taken great care of his vineyard. He has done all he can, but still the vineyard does not yield fruit as it should. God looks for the fruit of justice, but finds bloodshed. What are we looking at now? Bloodshed with the Palestinian people. Not Hamas. I'm not saying Hamas's attack shouldn't be. They should defend themselves. If Hamas actually attacked, and it was Hamas that attacked on that day, and not their own people, like a 9/11 event, if it was Hamas that actually attacked, yes, they should be taken out, or they should be answered for what they did. But this situation right here, they're going after kids and hospital workers. They're shooting at hospitals. That kind of stuff. You can't keep doing that kind of stuff. It's beyond defense when you start trying to kill the defenseless, killing babies. So he finds bloodshed. He desires righteousness, but hears instead an outcry from the oppressed, poor, and the powerless. Therefore, God will remove his protection, and what had once been a beautiful vineyard will be trampled and destroyed, with no further blessings, #rains, or cultivation. It will become a wasteland. I'm going to continue. The guy that I'm waiting for just got here. I'm going to continue in a little bit, and we'll read Mark, all right? I'll be back. See you guys. Okay, I'm back. So I probably want to let you know real quick, I will probably have some videos that shows what's going on in Palestine and, what's going on in the near Gaza and Israel. I'll have some videos probably on a follow-up message. I don't want this message to get blocked because of that stuff that I put on there, if you understand what I'm saying. Because it might get blocked. They don't want to show what's actually going on with the people. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and go to Mark, because in the different Gospels, they'll have the same parable, but it's not called out as to who it's referring to. It's up to your interpretation. So this one in Mark kind of gives you the actual, letting you know who Jesus is talking about. Okay, so this is Mark chapter 12, and we'll start with 1 and just read through it. Okay. And he began to speak unto them by parables. A certain man planted a vineyard, and set a hedge about it, and digged a place for the wine fat, and built a tower, and let it out to the husbandmen, and went into a far country. And at the season he sent to the husbandman a servant, that he might receive from the husbandman a fruit of the vineyard. And they caught him, and beat him, and sent him away empty. Think about the prophets that that God has sent for us to know about future events. All the prophets were either stoned or kicked out or killed. So anyway, so that's just in relation to this parable. And again, this is 12 verse 4. And again he sent unto them another servant, and at him they cast stones, and wounded him in the head, and sent him away shamefully handled. And that just made me think of Stephen getting stoned to death. And he said, lay not this charge on the people. He was praying for the people stoning him. And then he had the face of an angel, it said. And again he sent another, and him they killed, and many others, beating some and killing some. Having yet therefore one son, his well-beloved, he sent him also last unto them, saying, They will reverence my son. But those husbandmen said among themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance shall be ours. Now this is the Jewish rulers, the Pharisees, the ones that are ruling at the time. This is talking about the Jewish people. Okay? And they took him and killed him and cast him out of the vineyard. What shall therefore the Lord of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the husbandman, and will give the vineyard unto others. So everyone who says, that Israel, the Jewish people are, we're supposed to keep blessing them, the Jewish people. They're under this spell. The Christians are under a spell, not knowing that this was taken from the promises, that this was taken from the Jewish people, and it was passed on to the Gentiles. And I don't understand why people don't get this, but there's a lot of people deceived. They're listening to false pastors and false preachers that, like a Hagee, like you have David Jeremiah, you have all these people that are all about Israel and the Jewish people and blessing them, but really that's been taken away from the Jewish people. It's telling you right here. What shall therefore the Lord of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the husbandman, and will give the vineyard unto others, the Gentiles. Okay? And have ye not read the scripture? The stone which the builders rejected is become the head of the corner. That's Jesus. This was the Lord's doing, and is marvelous in our eyes. So they rejected Jesus. The Jewish people rejected Jesus. Let me repeat. The Jewish people rejected Jesus. Not all Jews. There's some people who believe in Jesus that are Jewish. I'm telling you, as a whole, this is what was done. And they sought to lay hold on him, but feared the people, for they knew that he had spoken the parable against them. So they knew that it was about them. And they left him and went their way. And they said, and they sent unto him certain of the Pharisees and of the Herodians to catch him in his words. But anyway, I'll leave it there. Let's go and read, since this is the KJV Study Bible, we'll go and read what the study that they got from it. Okay? Now this is 12:1 through 9. The parable of the wicked husbandman is very similar to the prophecy of Isaiah, which we just read. In both cases, the vineyard clearly represents Israel. Okay? So it clearly represents Israel. And the owner represents God. In the Isaiah account, the problem was that the vineyard failed to produce the fruits of righteousness. In Jesus' variation, the problem is with the husbandmen, the religious authorities, and that's in parentheses, who refuse to serve the owner due to their wickedness, greed, dishonesty, violence, and murder. The religious leaders who continued to oppose Jesus realized the parable was about them. If Jesus was right, it meant that God would soon reject them. But rather than change their opinion, they are all the more determined to have Jesus arrested. This is an irony in Mark's gospel. While previous parables concealed the truth from the religious leaders, this one reveals it to them and so provokes Jesus' crucifixion and leads to what Jesus was just telling them about the parable. So Jesus forethought to tell them what they were going to do, and they went ahead and did it. They killed the son, Jesus' son. They said, let the blood be on our own hands. So they had the Romans do their dirty work. Look at the nations of Israel right now, the Jewish nation, that nothing has changed. They're still doing the Romans, which is U.S. today. If you look at Maryland, it was originally called Rome, where the capital, D.C.'s capital, was all Rome, Maryland. It was before they changed the name. It was originally called Rome, and you had people from the Vatican. You had people. I think it was John Carroll who had that land, and he was a Jesuit. So you have a lot of ties. Rome being the U.S. And what are we doing right now? Jewish people are leading the U.S. into war with them. We're hook, line, and sink. We're doing the work of the Jewish people. All of our might comes from our strength, our military forces. That was the same as back then, Rome. And anyway, there's a lot of correlations when you get down into that. And that's why I want the people, the Christians, and people outside the Christian community to realize that this has been going on since the time before Jesus got here. The same thing is going on. It's the Jewish people rejecting the head of the corner. And Jesus is the head. He's the cornerstone. And he's been rejected. And the same thing is going on. And there's nothing new under the sun. And I'm just kind of letting you know, I'm not gonna send a whole bunch of videos with this. If I think that it can get passed with it, I'll send it out with it. But I just want you to be aware who you're actually supporting, because you're gonna condemn yourself. If you bless those who are cursed, then a curse will come on you. So that whole idea of blessing Israel to be blessed, it's brainwashing a lot of these Christians' mind, and it's just not true. So anyway, hope this helps. I hope that you guys realize the hour that we're in, and Jesus is returning soon. So anyway, be blessed and have a good day. Bye-bye.